right, NXT. Let's get it. This was a very female-forward episode of NXT. Tons of women's stuff on this show. We're gonna do a quick review of the NXT television show, and then we're gonna do deadline predictions because why spend any more time doing anything else? All right, Mackenzie Mitchell was released from WWE. Nobody has a good reason why. She was the girlfriend, wife, or whatever of Vic Joseph. Very unfortunate. I don't think she was bad at her job at all. You know, it just seems that WWE is cutting a lot in the production. Mark Shapiro, he's going around cutting stuff. So maybe she just fell on the chopping block, and it's not personal. It's not like she did anything wrong in particular. All right, let's get into this show. Roxanne Perez, Thea Hale, Kiana James, Fallon Henley. Last chance for the Iron Survivor Challenge, and Fallon Henley won this match. I was surprised. Very surprised to see Fallon Henley win. She ended up pinning Thea Hale to win the match after Roxanne Perez and Kiana James put themselves through an announce table. So they basically eliminated themselves out of the match. Fallon Henley is a good choice, if you believe it or not. They're trying to elevate new talent with these matches. I'm looking at the competitors, and I'm really raising my eyebrow because I'm saying, like, look, these aren't the people you would pick if you were trying to have the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Marketable people in the match. Some of these people aren't the people you would pick. But if you're trying to elevate and find a diamond in the rough, this probably would be some of the people that you would pick. All right, so Roxanne Perez and Kiana James, they argued backstage where Kiana James plans to ruin Roxanne Perez the next time she saw her. She ended up seeing her a little bit later, and then Ava, said she was going to go and get this match made. And so she did. She went to Shawn Michaels and got them a steel cage match. So Kiana James and Roxanne Perez will be wrestling at the pay-per-view in a steel cage match. And this has become Ava Rain's new gimmick now, where she gets things done. She's the fixer. I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about a little bit more about it later. Lyra Valkyria was cutting a boring babyface promo when she was interrupted by Lola Vice, who was still not very good at talking. She sounds scripted. She sounds like she's reading a teleprompter in Spanish, by the way. Tatum Paxley shows up. I don't know what she wanted, but she ended up picking a fight with Lola Vice. Elektra Lopez dropped the little nugget that Lola Vice could use her breakout tournament win for the tag team championship, and Lola Vice did not sell that at all. There was no reason for her to pay attention to that. Why would she do that? Anyway, Tatum Paxley was defeated by Lola Vice later. I like Lola Vice, but she got to work on her promo skills. And I'm not sure if we are supposed to be booing her when she's shaking that thing. You know, like when she throwing them hips around, why would I boo that? Like, you have to ask the question. If the point of being a heel is I'm not supposed to like you, but if you thick and you waving that thing around, I like you very much, actually. You know, like, she should wear a potato sack if she want to turn heel. She should try to cover it up. You know, but it ain't happening. She want everybody to see what she got going on. All right, Wesley came out there. Long story short, he needs back surgery. So he's out of here. He's done. He's going to be done not only for the rest of the year, but he might be done for the next year and a half. According to Vic Joseph, he needs back surgery, and he's going to be down for 8 to 12 months. That means this guy is not going to be back until late 2024. Now, look, I don't like Wesley. I'm not a big fan at all. But this sucks. He's a young guy, and to need back surgery at that young, God, Randy Orton just had back surgery, and he's fucking almost 50. You know, it's very sad for Wesley. You know, but I know he's been in this business a long time, and he does a high flying style, and you know that kind of stuff just kind of catches up with you. But man, he's gonna definitely have to adjust his style when he comes back. But he's gonna have to cough up his title shot. He did a teary-eyed promo that people said was bad acting, and I tend to agree. It was not very good acting, but you could tell that he was still very emotional about this. So Dominic Mysterio came out there to mock him, said that Wesley was going home again. He just came back and he's already leaving. Dominic says, well, look, you need back surgery? Well, imagine my back. I've been carrying WWE for 2 years. So then he says, well, I guess I got the night off to chill with mommy. Nope. Wesley introduces Rey Mysterio, who says that Dominic Mysterio's new opponent will be Dragon Lee. And Rey Mysterio also will be there for Deadline. So, okay, we're going to have Dragon Lee. He wasn't doing nothing on the main roster, so he's about to come back to NXT and hopefully win that North American title. Look, I like Dominic Mysterio. I'm a huge fan of Dominic Mysterio. I know that him and Dragon Lee can kick ass out there and have this match. You probably should put the belt on Dragon Lee. I'm just saying. I know he's just a fill-in, but you probably should have put the belt on him. If Dominic was going to win, you could have put anybody else in this spot. Nathan Fraser, Axiom, one of those funny black guys, anything. You could have put anybody in this spot if Wesley couldn't go. Putting Dragon Lee in this spot tells me you probably should put the belt on him. Especially since his feud with Santos Escobar is not over. I would put the belt on him and have him on SmackDown with this belt. That's what I would do. And then, of course, you would continue his feud with Dominic Mysterio on NXT. Okay. Backstage, they introduced the men's breakout tournament that's full of a bunch of guys. I have no idea who they were. One of whom, hilariously, Ringside News, which is absolutely a dumpster fire of a publication. But they did something funny because one of the guys, they said he looks like Ron from a different world. And when I saw that, I couldn't unsee it. I'm trying to figure out what the guy's name is, but he was wearing glasses. I'm pretty sure if you go back and his name is Dion Lennox, and they posted a picture of him and Ron from a different world. If you don't know what a different world is, it's one of the Bill Cosby TV shows from like the late 80s to early 90s. And on that show was Dwayne Wayne and his buddy Ron. Ron was a light-skinned dude wearing glasses. And this Dion Lennox, light-skinned dude wearing glasses. It's hilarious. That's legit. Ringside News, big pop on that one. Thank you. Otherwise, Obafemi is in here. Louis Cristofano and Miles Bourne. These are 3 guys that we've actually seen on this show before, and they're all on here. Miles Bourne should never talk again. I don't know what's up with his lisp. He's got one of the worst speech impediments I've ever heard. He should probably be wearing a mask, and he should be silent. I hate to put it that way, but he's going to struggle with communication. And he's an incredibly athletic guy. Why set him up for failure? He can't talk. He just can't talk. Obafemi is a mountain of a man. I'm saying he's monstrous. He's a big dude. Why we are not doing anything with him, I don't know. Is he going to win this thing? Probably not. And he probably should. Louis Cristofano looks like Tony D'Angelo. Looks like he would fit that gimmick perfectly as Tony D'Angelo's attorney or something like that. That would be excellent. Like, why do people not think how I think? The guy's name is Cristofano. That sounds Italian. Just put him with the Italians. Like, he's also goes by the Legal Eagle. So WWE apparently got into some a thing with this wrestler from West Virginia who owns Yeet, and so they had to stop using Yeet. Well, there's a YouTube channel called Legal Eagle. Something tells me they're gonna have to stop using that one too. They should really look these things up before they decide to attach them to wrestlers. But this guy's in NXT, so nobody's gonna even notice it. Not, at least not for a little while anyway. But those were the guys I recognized. I'm interested in the men's breakout tournament. I wonder why they took so long to do it. But I don't know. I guess they wanted to separate it from the women's, which usually they kind of run concurrently. But Louis Cristofano, he's actually pretty good. I watched him on on main event. Not main event. Next level, level up. That's where it is. Miles Bourne is an incredible athlete, and Oba Femi's a monster. So I'm looking at those guys. They have another Indian fellow. He's not an LGBT Tatanka. He's just a gigantic Indian fella. His name Bear Heel or something like that. Oh my goodness. He looks ridiculous. But that's good because he's an Indian. So that's cool. Okay? It's cool. His name's Bear Heel. I thought it was funny. I can't wait to see that guy in action. I'm not even going to hold you up. He caught my attention. All right, so Axiom started making fun of Nathan Fraser for getting beat up last week by... and he truly did get his shit kicked all the way in by Ilya Dragunov last week. Axiom had the nerve to tell him that he deserved it. And so Nathan Fraser started getting in his face, and they agreed to have a match. Now, earlier, the girls had their women's Iron Survivor Summit where they took snipes at each other. And then this match happened, and then they brawled into the match, which threw the match out. So for like the first time ever in history, the women actually stopped a men's match from happening. And I can't say that I was too upset about it, because I think we've seen 300 of these Nathan Fraser versus Axiom matches. And it seems like from the tenor of this promo segment that Nathan Fraser is on the verge of turning heel. And he needs it in the worst way. He really do need to turn heel. Now, because the girls brawled into their match, the match was thrown out, and now it's been set as being a kickoff match. Okay. I don't watch the kickoff show, so I don't care. All right. The third match on the show, the Metaphor, which is Noam Dar, Oral Mensa, and Lash Legend, were defeated by the Alpha Academy, which is Otis, Chad Gable, and Maxine Dupree. So this match was really fun. I'm going to say two things. One, Maxine Dupree, much better than she has any right to be. She's very athletic, and she doesn't know exactly what she's doing in the ring, but she's better than like Lana, right? For a person who did not have a match before she went to the main roster, I am surprised at how good she is and how athletic and flexible she is. I'm very impressed. I'm not saying she should be the women's champion. I'm just saying I'm impressed. So when we talk about somebody like Jade Cargill and what's taking so long, it's like, well, they're taking their time. It's like they took their time with Maxine. They're taking their time with Jade to get her to a certain level. And look, I know that there's a lot of people out there, they're on Twitter, they say, look at some of these women that they put out there on NXT. Jade is better than them. You have to realize what they're trying to do with Jade. They're not trying to build Jade on television. They want to present an almost complete product so that she will live up to the hype. Not just trying to slide her in there and, you'll figure it out as you go along. They're hyping her up. They want her to meet expectations, so they're taking their time. With Maxine Dupree, she's better than I thought she would be. She's actually wrestling more than I thought she would, too. The second thing in this match is, of course, Lash Legend body slammed Otis. And I was shocked, as everybody else, that they managed to do that. Mainly because it does kind of damage Otis. Like, Otis is a bit fat, humorous guy, but he's still a huge man. It was a big, impressive feat when Bianca Belair picked him up, even though she picked him up off the stairs. She picked him up and carried him across the finish line, which was like 2 or 3 years ago. And now they got Lash Legend body slamming him. It's like, well, clearly they've already decided that Otis can't draw you any money because they're not going to put him in a position to do so. Instead, they're just going to have, women body slam him and carry him around. But it was a great spot for Lash Legend. And, she got a holy shit chant. Everybody was super excited for it. It was great. In terms of a moment, that was it. And this match was better than it had any right to be. The match ends when Chad Gable submits Noam Dar, which is no doubt probably going to set him up to be the number one contender for the Heritage Cup again. So that ought to be fine. I'm not thrilled about the Alpha Academy, but I am very impressed by Lash Legend and Maxine Dupree. And Lash Legend still isn't a great wrestler, but she's strong as hell. All right. To be able to body slam Otis, and she had a little bit of help because he bounced off the ropes and ran towards her, but it still looked very good. It looked good. She didn't look like she was going to break her back or anything. All right. So Baron Corbin says that he got Ilya Dragunov right where he wants him, out of his mind and out of control. So then this leads to the main event segment, which was Ilya Dragunov and Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin tried to talk, but Dragunov kept throwing stuff like chairs and flipping tables over, saying that Baron Corbin never should have brought his family into it, never should have brought his personal life into it. He crossed the line. Baron Corbin said that all of Ilya Dragunov's sacrifices are an excuse. He could have brought his family along. He could have stayed at home. He said, you turned your back on your son like your father turned his back on you. And Dragunov is fuming. I mean, he's pissed. So Baron Corbin then continues his promo by saying, for you, this is about this championship. It's about the only reason that you're here in this country. But for me, this is vindication. Because I haven't stopped. Not through injury, not through COVID, not through changing brands, not through anything. I have been a constant on television for 8 years. And people actually started cheering Baron Corbin. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was actually very impressed with myself. I didn't know how long he had been around. Like, I knew Baron Corbin had been around since, like, 2017, but, you know, you don't really think about how long ago that was. You know, that was over 6 years ago. You know, so, wow. So he says that, you know, Dragunov is still fuming, knocking stuff over. And Baron Corbin is saying, look, I'm not scared of you. I can walk down any street in the world. I've been through hell and back. Saturday ain't going to be no different. So then Dragunov grabbed him like in a hug and said that the only person that can destroy the dragon is the dragon himself. Then he pat himself on the back, and all of the men's Iron Survivor guys came fighting in. We'll talk about that in a minute. It was a great promo segment by Baron Corbin. He did a really good job of selling this match. Selling himself. Like, he's a much better promo than I thought. I am infinitely impressed. And I don't want to see him wrestle at all, but I'm very impressed in Baron Corbin's mic skills and his confidence. I mean, crazy, right? All right, so they did NXT Anonymous. Trick Mello backstage. Mello and Trick were talking. Apparently Trick was very excited. He left the scene, and then Carmelo Hayes starts to text somebody, and this is supposed to be connected to the NXT Anonymous scene we saw last week, where Lexis King checked his phone before he attacked Trick Williams. So now Trick Williams is pissed. He walks up to Carmelo Hayes and wants to know what's going on. Carmelo Hayes said, look, man, I'm locked in right now on this championship opportunity that I got here, this Iron Survivor thing. And then so Trick Williams like, yeah, this is your last chance. And so he goes to the ring and to do the match. Now, in between the commercials, Lexis King does a promo, and I'm guessing it's supposed to be for Twitter. And he's talking about, is he's upset or surprised that NXT Anonymous saw him when he attacked Trick Williams? And he says no. Big stars like him, the cameras always manage to find guys like him and Mello. And then he says that Mello is a good friend of his, and he would never interfere in Mello's match and help him win. And then he started saying that, you know, Mello learns that he don't miss and I don't miss either. And he just kind of basically kept tying himself to Carmelo Hayes, that they're buddies, that they're friends, that they have a plan. Just a whole lot of hoopla. You know, it's a whole lot of nonsense. So this leads us to the main event. Last chance fatal 4-way. Carmelo Hayes, Eddie Thorpe, Joe Coffey, and Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate actually won this match by pinning Joe Coffey. The LGBT Tatanka, Eddie Thorpe, was who you were led to believe was the main character going into this match, because he cut a promo about his rib cage and wanting to fight Dijak. But it didn't happen for him. He got taken out. And Carmelo Hayes also got taken out. So, interesting decision to put Tyler Bate in this match. Very interesting decision. I don't understand what their obsession with Tyler Bate is, but looking at the options, it's hard to tell. So after the match, Carmelo Hayes is pissed. He goes to Ava and says that he needs something done. He wants her to go and get something done for him. She leaves to do that, and he is accosted by Trick Williams. Trick Williams wants to know who was that he was texting, and he said it wasn't Lexis King. He's never worked with Lexis King. He doesn't like Lexis King. In fact, he wants to kick Lexis King's ass at Deadline. So Trick Williams accepts that. He like, all right, my G. Then he says, we're going to figure this thing out. You're going to open the show, and I'm going to close it. And the crowd, as well as, not going to lie, even myself, I was like, ooh, he calling you a curtain jerker. You going to let him talk to you like that? I wouldn't let him talk to me like that. It's a lack of respect, bro. He don't respect you and your talent. He don't respect your skills. He ain't respecting your game right now. He said you're going to open the show for him. The Trick Mello thing is very interesting. Lexis King is all involved with this now, with his ridiculous haircut and his ridiculous teeth. I mean, his teeth are... What is up with every time somebody gets them goddamn teeth, they start showing them off. T.I.'s punk-ass kid, Roman Reigns, whatever. Like, I got new teeth. Look at them. Check me out. Check me, I got Lego teeth. Look at them. They don't even fit in my mouth. They're like a grill that you got on top of your real teeth. What nonsense. And that beard, holy hell, what a beard. That beard is level, perfectly level. You probably put a level on it, it's going to be perfectly right in between the two lines. I dig it. But, Trick and Mello trying not to fall apart, but the story is moving very slowly. It's been going on since October, and here is December, and they still haven't figured this thing out yet. They still haven't figured out whether he was attacked. But at this point, somebody's going to be like, oh, yeah, you got attacked by Carmelo Hayes, but he got called up to SmackDown because it's been going on for 2 years already. So I'm thinking that maybe Deadline, they're going to actually reveal who was the attacker or who was behind the attack or whatever the case may be. All right, the last piece of business we got here is Andre Chase and his public address. So apparently he's a degenerate gambler, which we already know. He owes hundreds of thousands of dollars. He spent all of his personal savings and also borrowed money so that he could gamble. And now the university is under academic probation, and that there will be no financial aid for students who came after the investigation began. I mean, this is such a detailed, ridiculous comment here. We're talking like this is a real university. Now, this is kayfabe for that ass. People are going to be like, wait a minute, this is a real school? No, it's not. It's a fake school. And this guy stands in front of everybody and admits to embezzling the money, and not a single police officer is anywhere around this guy. You know this is TV, because he said, oh yeah, basically I stole money from the university and spent it gambling on poker and college basketball. Sorry, let's do a bake sale to get the money back. That was something somebody said, because everybody's in the crowd like, what can we do? How can we fix this? And some guy was like, hey, let's do a bake sale. And Thea Hill looking at this guy, and music starts playing in her head, and it's ridiculous. Like, it's a top tier dumbass promo right here. Okay. Duke Hudson, who, used to run a casino, says like, how can we make money? What do we do? Like, you used to run a casino. Like, when you running like poker tables in the basement, it would make so much sense if he was the guy that he owed money to, but apparently we're going to pretend that that's not the case. So Andre Chase owes hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest and principal to a third party who, and he can't afford to pay them. And now they have to try to find some way to make money out of Chase University. So as ridiculous as this story is, because this guy's admitting the embezzlement, it's at least something, because they're not the tag team champions anymore. Thea Hale has gone through her rebellious stage. This is also going to give her fuel to do that, because now Andre Chase isn't the leader that everybody thought he was, to which he apologized for and all this kind of stuff. But this is the slow death of Chase University, and that's fine with me. I don't have too much of a concern about it, but I wish they'd have picked something else that he had done, and not something that was like obviously a criminal offense that he should definitely be in prison for, that he admitted to, white collar felonies on television, and everybody's kind of like, it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, we ought to figure out what's going on. Maybe JC Jane's going to save the school. She's a student now. She was sitting there with a little pussy hat and everything. Hilarious. But NXT as a show was fun. It was typical over-the-top NXT, but it was like 70% female on this show. It was like so many women's segments and so many women's matches. Not that I have a problem with that. It's just it was a lot. It was a little bit overwhelming. But let's talk about this Deadline show now, because this ought to be pretty good too. Now, Deadline. What is this? December the 9th, 2023. From Bridgeport, Connecticut. According to WrestleTix, as of December the 4th, 7:15 p.m., WrestleTix says that they have sold 3,335 tickets. That's not bad. The last time they were there was in 2022 for a house show, and that was the main roster, so we're not going to even count that, but 3,300. They got 1,000 tickets remaining, so they can sell about a maximum of 4,500. They're not going to sell it out in terms of their setup, but it's not bad. 3,000 tickets for NXT. I'm not going to sneeze at it. It's not, the best, but considering NXT is essentially a studio wrestling show where they only do pay-per-views on the road, and then they keep snatching stars off the show, I think it's not too bad. All right, let's start with the kickoff show. Axiom versus Nathan Frazer. I don't. Do it matter who wins? Can they both lose? Is it possible for both of them to lose? I think they should both lose. I think they both should I think they should fall into the Speed Force, because they're both very fast. So maybe they can just run around in a circle, create a Speed Force, and evaporate into it. Otherwise, Nathan Frazer needs to turn heel. Next, Dirty Dominic Mysterio with Rhea Ripley, who apparently is going to be there, versus Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio for the NXT North American Championship. I'm going to go with Dragon Lee. I'm going to be biased. I love both of these guys. I really do. But Dominic, I think, has held that title for a while, and it's gotten kind of stagnant. I know that the whole thing with Trick Williams winning the title last time, and then they took the title from Trick almost immediately, which seemed kind of goofy in the long term. Well, in the short term, it was like, what the hell? In the long term, it was done to make Trick Williams a bigger star, but they haven't done anything with Dominic since. So, and since Dragon Lee is just a fill-in guy, I could see Dominic winning. But because they need something to come out of this show that matters, I'm going to go with Dragon Lee. And I'm going to think that Dragon Lee is going to end up with the North American title and be wrestling with that belt on SmackDown. Hell, he may even drop it to Santos Escobar. But I definitely think that Dragon Lee is going to win the title. He should. Match 2 or 3. Roxanne Perez versus Kiana James. Steel cage match. All right. This is interesting. I like Kiana James. I think she's, a good character, a good personality. NXT seems to love them some Roxanne Perez. I'm surprised she hasn't won the title again. She's also a person who probably needs to be turned heel or something at this point, because it doesn't seem like she's going much of anywhere. I'm going to go with Kiana James to win the match. I know I probably shouldn't do that, but I think she's probably going to have a lackey or something. I think she has an an assistant or whatever named Izzy Dame, who was a friend of hers. Maybe that Izzy Dame gets involved and helps Kiana James win. So I'm going to go with Kiana James, even against my better judgment, because normally I would just say Roxanne Perez. Match 3, Carmelo Hayes versus Lexis King. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at this. One, this is the big match that Lexis King has been preparing for. Do you beat him in the first big match that he's involved in? Or do you beat Carmelo Hayes again? And I don't think you beat Carmelo Hayes again. I mean, Carmelo Hayes just got beat by Josh Briggs for crying out loud. But this is an interesting match because Lexis King can probably take a loss and still be okay. While Carmelo Hayes has been on a losing streak and probably doesn't need to lose another match. At the same time, because Carmelo Hayes has been on a losing streak, maybe you could get away with him losing this match too. I'm going to go with Carmelo Hayes just because I think that you go with conventional booking and have Carmelo Hayes prove that he's had nothing to do with any of this Trick Williams stuff and just have him win the match. This is not against my better judgment. This is against my good judgment. I have good judgment on this one. All right. The female Iron Survivor Challenge. Tiffany Stratton, Lash legend Blair Davenport, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley. Okay. So I watched the Iron Survivor challenges from the previous year just to remind myself of what the match looked like. And it's like a weird cross between the Scramble match that everybody liked when the WWE did them and the Royal Rumble, where people come in at certain intervals, except they keep the drama because you can pin or submit anybody at any time. So within the first 5 minutes, you can rack up 3 or 4 points. And, well, you can, mathematically, you can't wrap up that many points. You can't wrap up 4 points in the first 5 minutes because you have to do 90 seconds in the penalty box. So technically, you can't do that many points. But you could probably get 2 points in, 2 or 3, before the next person comes in. So that doesn't kill the drama. Instead, it creates drama because it puts everybody else behind the 8 ball if you've got points when they start coming in. So looking at this field, the only main event talent in this field is Blair Davenport and Tiffany Stratton. Now, Blair Davenport got her soul kicked in by Nikita Lyons earlier in the show, which was great. Her little comeback was all of 5 seconds, and it consisted of her just kicking Blair Davenport in the chest, which ruled. It kicked ass. Do I think she'll interfere and cost Blair Davenport this match? I would not be surprised if she did. To me, Blair Davenport is the second top female in this company after Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton is an absolute freak of nature, though. So Blair Davenport could be the women's Carmelo Hayes if and only if they actually just decide to go there with her. I've been putting her over in a major way. And she's the only pure heel in this match because Lash Legend, people kind of like her. So I'm going to go with Blair Davenport winning this match. She should win. Tiffany Stratton doesn't need to win, so it's not that big of a deal for her. And they could actually just break out a story with her and Fallon Henley from this match where they cost each other the match. So I'm going to go with Blair Davenport because Lyra Valkyria needs an opponent. She needs a heel. She needs somebody that the audience can dislike. I don't think putting her in there with other baby faces would make sense. And I don't think Lash Legend winning this match makes any sense either. I just don't think she's ready for the platform. I just don't think that we got enough out of Lash Legend yet. Lash Legend is what Jade Cargill would be if she'd be wrestling now, which is serviceable but still not great. So I'm going to go with Blair Davenport to win the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge. The Men's Iron Survivor Challenge, Dijak, Trick Williams, Josh Briggs, Braun Breaker, and Tyler Bate. So Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton on the male side. He doesn't need to win. It would make sense if it was Trick Williams because it would maintain his momentum. But something tells me his storyline is with Carmelo Hayes and Lexis King. So he's likely not going to win. So that leaves Josh Briggs, who is a babyface, Tyler Bate, who is a babyface, and Dijak, who is a heel. And the champion is presumably Ilya Dragunov, but I haven't made my decision yet. So working off of the Ilya Dragunov victory, I'm going to guess that the opponent will likely be, I hate to say it, but I think it's probably going to end up being Dijak. You know, Trick Williams is involved with another story. Him winning this match would take away from that story, or at the very least, it would. But at the same time, it could, amplify that story. Now that I think about it, because if Trick Williams wins the Iron Survivor Challenge, gets a title match, and then doesn't win because of Carmelo Hayes or Lexis King, that could be an interesting scenario. But it would just turn this whole thing into an angle and not, an actual match. Dijak and Josh Briggs being the worst options on here. Josh Briggs is, he's just not for this part of the show. I'm just not sure he's a main event talent. I'm just not sure he's there. I like him more than I like Dijak, but I'm just not sure that Josh Briggs is a main event talent. I'm certain Tyler Bate as a babyface is not. Do I see NXT deciding that Tyler Bate versus Ilya Dragunov is money and continuing the European dominance of the NXT roster? I see them doing that. They could do that, but why? I mean, give me a good reason why. They'll have good matches. Shut up. The real answer is to go with Trick Williams and then have him get screwed out of the title shot by, Carmelo Hayes or Lexis King. And then that be the official. We find out who screwed him, who messed him over, and we go from there. But I can also see them letting Dijak win. So I'm going to go with Trick Williams, but I kind of expect Dijak to win. All right, the main event of the evening, Ilya Dragunov versus Baron Corbin. Let me tell you this, 3,300 people did not pay or were comped or borrow tickets to see Baron Corbin defeat Ilya Dragunov. Not one person in that building paid a ticket, paid a dime to see Baron Corbin defeat Ilya Dragunov. Ain't nobody paid not one thin red fucking cent to see Baron Corbin defeat Ilya Dragunov, so it should not happen. Dragunov must win. He cannot win. And so that's that. Let's go through the list again. Carmelo Hayes versus Lexis King. I got Carmelo Hayes. Roxanne Perez versus Kiana James steel cage match. I'm going to go with Kiana James by outside interference. Dirty Dominic Mysterio versus Dragon Lee for the North American Championship. I'm going to go with Dragon Lee. Singles match for the NXT title. Baron Corbin versus Ilya Dragunov. Under no circumstances should Baron Corbin ever be a world champion, even if it's just NXT. No. Put it down. Put that crack pipe down. No. Tiffany Stratton, Lash Legend, Blair Davenport, Kelani Jordan, Fallon Henley, Women's Iron Survivor Challenge. I'm going to go with Blair Davenport. She should win. The Men's Iron Survivor Challenge. Dijak, Trick Williams, Josh Briggs, Braun Breaker, and Tyler Bate. I'm going to go with Trick Williams, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Dijak. And on the kickoff show, Nathan Fraser versus Axiom. I want them both to jump into the fucking sun. Who cares? So, this ought to be a very good show. It ought to be live, The pay-per-views are usually pretty good. They're actually producing more matches on this show than they have on other shows. Usually, NXT is in WWE in general under the Triple H era. Do 5-match cards. They decided to do a 7-match card here. Technically a 6-match because the 7th match is on the pre-show. So I'm very surprised that they chose to do this, but I'm not surprised at the same time because when you look at how they built the Iron Survivor matches, you knew they had to get the stars on the show. If they had left, Carmelo Hayes off the show, it's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And if you're going to add a Carmelo Hayes match, you're probably going to have to add a women's match too, since none of the championships are going to be on the line. So, they added the women's cage match, and they made it a cage match to make it interesting. But I don't hate it. It looked like it's going to be a fun show. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you guys later.